This is an extremely flammable situation, and the president just threw a match into it. He hasn't won these states. Nobody is saying he's won the states. The states haven't said that he's won. This goes right back to what Joe Biden said, which is the president doesn't get to say that he's won states. The American people get to say it, and the state officials get to declare it. And I guess, and I don't know whether he literally means it, but he said, we will be going to the Supreme Court because we want all the voting to stop. Well, voting to stop, yes, but vote counting? These states by state law all have the opportunity, and states routinely are unable to count votes by election night or early into the morning of the day after the election, and it goes on for days. Now, there may be a question as to how long you can continue to accept ballots, but there's no question that all these states can continue to count votes for days. They don't have to certify for weeks who has won the state. That was what happened in Florida back in 2000. So I don't know if he literally meant that he's going to try to stop the counting of the vote, but I would think that would be extremely inflammatory, and frankly, I don't think it's something that the courts would allow.
Here you have Fox News ostensibly speaking to Trump's own supporters, swiftly shutting down this absurd demand by Trump to stop counting the votes. This came in the aftermath of Trump himself declaring, with zero evidence whatsoever, that fraud has occurred and that they won the election.
So we won there. We lead by 76,000 votes with almost nothing left. And all of a sudden, everything just stopped. This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. We did win this election. So our goal now is to ensure the integrity for the good of this nation. This is a very big moment. This is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list, okay? It's a very sad moment. To me, this is a very sad moment, and we will win this, and as far as I'm concerned, we already have won it.
What we're seeing right now from Trump are the desperate musings of a despot. Because even though votes are still being counted, Donald Trump wants the counting of the votes to stop in states where he's already leading. He likes the results as they stand right now, and so he thinks that we should just shut it down. Think of it like this. The New England Patriots are up 20-21 at halftime, and they really want to win, so they stop playing and declare victory. Oh, that's ridiculous? You don't say. Here's what you need to know. Donald Trump has not won these states, and beyond that, he doesn't get to certify himself as the winner. That's not how it works in this country. But that's not to say he didn't try, or that it didn't come without the help of other Republicans. For example, were you wondering why the GOP legislatures in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan didn't want to count early votes until polls closed? It's because they knew early votes would favor Biden, and election day votes would favor Trump. They also knew that Trump was gonna declare victory as soon as he could point to a lead. And so knowing this, they ensured that early votes wouldn't be counted until election day, so that the first numbers posted would be good for Trump. And lo and behold, as soon as the first batch of votes came in that favored Trump, he held a fascistic little press conference, pointed to his election day lead, and said, "I'm winning, stop counting." But here's the thing, even if Donald Trump shows a lead in certain states, the election isn't over until every vote is counted, and early votes count just as much as election day votes. It doesn't matter how upset Trump gets that he loses, because being a sore loser doesn't suspend the rules, it doesn't suspend the law, and it doesn't suspend our democracy. The fact is that if Trump was actually in a good position, he wouldn't need to do this. He wouldn't need to rely on these pathetic press conferences and premature declarations of victory and despotic proclamations. If he actually thought he would win, he'd let the votes get counted, but he knows that he's in a terrible position. And so instead of letting the democratic process play out, he wants to try and undermine it however he can. And keep in mind, that's in addition to Republican voter suppression efforts, like blocking early voting and trying to reinstate witness signatures and taking drop boxes away and implementing voter ID laws and instituting poll taxes and closing down polling locations and outright trying to destroy the postal service. Imagine taking all of these anti-democratic steps and then still presenting yourself as the victim of some non-existent fraud. So my advice is simple. Ignore Trump's temper tantrums and him pounding the table and him stomping his feet. It's all just noise. It means absolutely nothing. The states will continue on with their work of counting every last vote that was cast legally, and they will certify those elections once all the ballots have been counted. And they'll do so regardless of whether the outcome is acceptable to Donald Trump or not. If you like this video, please check out my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, where I take a deep dive into the week's most important stories and interview major players in politics, including Kamala Harris, Katie Porter, Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, Eric Swalwell, Mary Trump, Al Franken, Cory Booker, and many, many more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.